The fall of a rising star. The lights never seemed to dim for Victor Wembanyama. From the moment he stepped onto an NBA court, he was a spectacle, a towering blend of elegance and raw force, moving like a whisper yet striking like thunder. They called him a generational talent. Some whispered alien. Others said Messiah. Every headline, every camera, every ounce of hope was placed on his narrow shoulders. But the spectacle came with a weight no one could see. By his second season, Victor was already drowning in expectations. Every missed shot was dissected. Every win was a requirement. Every loss was an indictment. The cameras caught everything, especially the moments he wanted to hide. His teammates tried to protect him, but the locker room was a battlefield of unspoken jealousy and corporate agendas. Coaches demanded perfection. Sponsors demanded smiles. The fans demanded magic. And Victor just wanted to breathe. After a particularly brutal loss, he sat alone in the training room, ankle wrapped in ice, heart colder than the bandage. The door creaked behind him. "You okay, V?" It was Malik, the team's veteran guard. Victor didn't look up. "Do you ever feel like you're disappearing?" Malik paused. "Only every day." There was a fragile silence, one that said more than either man could. Victor finally raised his head. "I'm starting to forget why I even play." The next morning he was gone. No press conference, no farewell post, not even a voicemail. Just a single message left with his agent. "I need to find the game again, or lose myself trying." The NBA world spiraled. Twitter erupted. Pundits screamed betrayal. Some questioned his toughness. Others claimed mental burnout. The Spurs issued a carefully worded statement, but behind closed doors, no one had a clue where Victor had gone. Rumors flared like wildfire. "He's in Europe." "No, he's in rehab." "Maybe he joined a cult?" Some say he walked away from everything. No phone, no credit cards, not even a suitcase. The truth, however, was far stranger than fiction. Victor wasn't chasing peace in the Alps or partying in Paris. He hadn't quit. Not in the way the world understood quitting. He had simply let go. Of noise, of pressure, of identity. Because sometimes the only way to remember who you are is to forget what the world made you. And while the sports world waited to see if the next chapter would be scandal, tragedy, or redemption, Victor Wembanyama was already deep into a story no one expected. One not written in stats or contracts, but in silence. Into the silence. Arrival at the monastery. Victor's breath fogged in the icy morning air as he stepped off the rickety wooden cart. Snow crunched underfoot, muffling the sound of his arrival. Before him stood a monastery carved into the mountainside, ancient and stoic, its stone walls scarred by centuries of wind and time. No signs, no technology, no comfort, just quiet. A monk waited at the entrance, robes draped loosely around his wiry frame. His eyes, sunken but steady, held no curiosity, only calm recognition. "You are expected," the monk said in a hushed accent, neither welcoming nor cold. "Follow." Victor said nothing. His 7'3" frame dwarfed the monk, yet for the first time in years, he didn't feel like the center of attention. Just a traveler. Just a man. Inside, the monastery was colder than the air outside. No electricity. No mirrors. No clocks. A bell rang somewhere deep in the corridors, marking the hour. Or perhaps a prayer. Time didn't seem to matter here. "You may speak once a day," the monk informed him, handing him simple linens. "Meals are shared. Labor is expected. Reflection is essential." Victor nodded. He wanted this. He needed this. His room was no larger than a closet. A mat, candle, a bowl. Felt like punishment, but also, strangely, like peace. For the first time in his adult life, there was nothing to perform for, no metrics to satisfy. Just silence and space. But the stillness was deceptive. The first week unraveled him. His body ached from hours of manual labor, hauling firewood, scrubbing floors, carrying water up steep stone steps. His mind screamed during the meditations. Every thought, regret, failure, Every headline, every critic, echoed in the void. During one meditation, he cracked. Tears streamed down his face as he sat motionless, hands trembling on his knees. He didn't cry from pain. He cried because he didn't know who he was without the noise. That night, a new figure appeared beside him at the well. An older monk, cloaked in dark wool, skin weathered by more than age. His presence felt heavier, like stone soaked in wisdom. "You are not the first man to come here seeking something," the elder said without introduction. Victor looked at him, unsure if he was even allowed to respond. "I came here to forget," he admitted. The monk smiled faintly. "Then you've come to the wrong place." Victor frowned. "What do you mean?" The monk knelt beside the well, drawing up a wooden bucket. "We do not forget here. We remember what matters and what does not." Victor lowered his gaze. The words landed like a soft blow. From that day on, the elder monk, Master Doru, began to appear more often, sometimes saying nothing, sometimes asking questions with no clear answers. And slowly Victor began to listen, not to the world, not to the crowd in his mind, but to something deeper. A quiet voice, long buried beneath fame and fear, the voice that once loved the game not for what it gave him, but for how it made him feel. The transformation, body, mind, spirit. Victor's days melted into ritual. At dawn, he rose before the bell, muscles aching yet eager. He no longer kept count of the days, only the breaths between sunrise and sleep. The mountain air, once cruel and biting, now felt like a teacher. Stern but fair, Master Doru rarely spoke, but when he did, his words struck like a stone dropped into still water, rippling through Victor long after. "Your body is not a weapon," Doru said one morning as they walked the steep mountain path. "It is a vessel. Sharpen the mind, and the vessel will follow." Victor listened, at first out of respect, then out of hunger. The training was nothing like basketball. There were no drills, no dunks, no strategy boards. Only balance, breath, repetition. He learned to walk barefoot across frozen stone without flinching, to hold a single pose in silence for hours, to eat without haste, to move without waste. In the silence, he met shadows he'd spent years outrunning. He remembered his childhood coach in France, shouting praise after his first blocked shot. His mother crying the night he left home. The moment he realized the NBA wasn't a dream, it was a machine. And then, he remembered joy. Not fame, not contracts, just joy. The sound of sneakers squeaking on pavement at dusk, the rhythm of the ball, the music of motion. "Let go of the world," Doru told him one evening, as they sat overlooking the valley. "It is not running away, it is walking inward." Victor began to change. His steps grew lighter yet more grounded. His breathing, once ragged with frustration, became steady and intentional. His nightmares faded. Instead, he dreamed in stillness. One dream returned often. Him alone on a basketball court. No audience, no scoreboard, just silence and a single ball. He dribbled not to win but to feel. Each bounce echoed like a heartbeat. He awoke one morning with tears in his eyes and a quiet understanding in his chest. Not a breakthrough, not an epiphany, a remembering. That night, as the monks chanted beneath a sky full of stars, Victor stood alone in the courtyard. He raised his arms, imagined the arc of a perfect shot, felt the balance in his feet, the breath in his chest. He did not shoot. He didn't need to, because the game, he now realized, wasn't out there. It was within him, and it had never truly left. Return of the monk athlete. The world didn't hear Victor Wembanyama return. He didn't announce it. There was no press release, no photos of private jets or viral Instagram posts. He simply appeared, standing in the corner of a quiet gym, lacing up worn sneakers, as if no time had passed. But something was unmistakably different. His presence was quieter, yet somehow louder. His frame, still towering, now moved with a grace that seemed untouched by ego. Gone was the restless prodigy with haunted eyes. In his place stood a man whose stillness spoke louder than any dunk.